In our second part of this video for the normal distribution, we're going to talk about actually how to find the area under the curve for any normal distribution. So this means that it doesn't matter what x bar, which is our sample mean, or our standard deviation, which is s, we are going to standardize those to make them fit so that we can find that percentage of data between two values. We are going to be using the chart from the book, and I want to caution you here again, in the problems it's going to actually give you a pop-up for those charts, but I do recommend for when you're doing your homework to go ahead and print those charts out, because it helps to not have to pull it up and flip it back, but make sure you're comfortable with both. Okay. So we will always need to standardize them. So what I want to direct you to is that, again, remember we start off drawing our drawing. This would have been our mean, which would have been x bar. When we standardize it, which we're going to talk about here in a second, that's always going to standardize to 0. So we're going to know that for the case. These are going to be positive z-scores, which is going to be above the mean, and these are going to be negative z-scores, which are going to be below the mean. So let's talk about what a z-score is now. So a z-score is basically saying how far away in terms of standard deviation. So kind of think back to the empirical rule. We had the idea of 1 standard deviation, 2 standard deviations, or 3 standard deviations. But we really want to be able to deal with 1.2, 2.6. So we need to come up with a way to how to standardize from the mean, how far are we based on standard deviations. So that's what the z-score is doing. It is saying how many standard deviations is x from the mean. That's what you're actually calculating. This is the formula. You take your value, which is the x, we subtract off the mean, and we divide by the standard deviation. So you will get negatives if it's below the mean, you will get positives if it's above the mean. So a z-score, if I say, and the way we'll note it was we'll put with a subscript, the z-score of 1.5 means that I am 1.5 standard deviations above the mean. The z-score of a negative 1.5 means I am 1.5 standard deviations below the mean. So we're going to actually calculate a few of these right now. So remember, this is super important. You do not have to do it, but this should be obvious. If you have the mean minus the mean over s will always give you s over 0 over s, which is 0. So let's standardize these pieces here. They've given me the mean, the x bar is 50, and the standard deviation is 10. So for this problem, any z-score is going to be x minus 50 divided by 10. No matter what. That's what we're going to do for every single one of them. So for this first one, 60 minus 50 over 10. This is one that we could do in our head, but again, they're not going to always be that easy. So 60 is 1 standard deviation above. Z of 45, we would take 45 minus 50 divided by 10. So I'd have a negative 5 over 10, and you do want to write it in decimal form. That's a negative 0.5. So that means it is below the mean because I have a negative, and that's important. Z of 50, if you already recognize that that's going to be the 0 over 10, which is 0, that is actually the mean. And then Z of 75 would be 75 minus 50 over 10, 25 over 10, which gives me 2.5. That is above the mean. So we're going to need to use these to use the charts. Really important. You have to standardize it. Z of x, which is already up there, is x minus x bar over s. Important, you need to memorize it. You need to know how to use it. It's going to be one of your first steps in doing these problems where we're going to be finding the regions and areas. So different books use different charts. Our book uses always, it's shifted from the last edition. It's using below the z-score, So the first chart is using negative z-scores, and it's finding the tail portion. But I do want you to realize that the tail actually will match on the other side because it's symmetric. But we will be looking for a z-score. So I want to just mention, if I wanted the z-score, let's say I wanted the z-score of a negative 2.5. I'm going to show you how we do that. We would, and I'm going to actually, let's call it 2.54. So I would go down to negative 2.5, which is here. And then I would go over to the 0.4, which is here. So then I would use that piece, and that would be equal to 0.0055. So that would be telling me that the area under that tail, I'm going to draw it out, this would be negative 2.54. The area under that tail piece would be 0.0055, or you could write it as a percent, which is 0.55%, because remember, you move the decimal place 2 places to the left. So just showing you how you can use this chart. The other chart they're going to give you, again, is still below the mean, but this is positive means. So remember that this is still your mean at 0. This is a positive z-score. So if we wanted to look at, and I'm going to draw it out, so that would be mean, and I always put that as 0. If I wanted the z-score as being, let's use 1.77. So find that on this chart. So if we take the 1.77, we're going to look at 1.7, which is here, and then we're going to look at 0.7. So I'm going down. This would be my piece because I'm looking at 1.77. So it would be, the area here would be 0.9616. The area below that z-score would be my 0.9616. Pause it, rewind it anytime you need to do it. So when you are doing these problems, these are the steps that you're expected to do. Area under the normal curve, you read from the z-score on the book to standardize it. Characteristics, we always know it's symmetric. 50% lies above the means, 50% lies below the mean. This is always, always true. You can use these for every single problem. To use the charts, you have to get a z-score, which is standardizing and basically deciding how many standard deviations are you away from the mean. We sometimes will use the chart and pull the exact information, and sometimes we won't, which is what this bottom diagram is for. This is pulled directly from the book. I think it's helpful for some of y'all to read over this and understand it, but as long as you are drawing your picture, these are the steps I want you to use. We will draw, okay, which again, this will always be the mean. And when I say draw, I'm going to add an extra step in here. You need to make sure you're shading correct. Then we're going to standardize, which means get the z-scores. So I'll put kind of in the box. So we're starting off with drawing. Then we're going to standardizing. And our last step then is going to be use the chart to find the area. You may have to add or subtract pieces. You may use these ideas up here, but I really want you to draw the pictures, number one, but I actually will mark you wrong on the test if you do not. I know they don't do it in my math lab because they can't have you show it, but for me, if you do not do these 3 steps on the test, it is going to be marked wrong. So here's some procedures, again, of what to do. Again, draw the diagram. Make sure you're careful of shading. The mean is always in the center. You standardize. So use this formula, standardizing. 3, we use the chart to find the areas. Remember that the chart is always going to show you the left answer, the left area. So sometimes you're going to be adding, sometimes you're going to be subtracting, so this gives you the idea of what you're doing on these pieces. So A says it's below in the tail, easy, you take that directly off of the chart using that negative z-score chart. B says, again, it's a positive one, but again, we want the whole region to the left, so it's easy, we're going to take the number directly off of it. So these two are basically direct problems from the chart. Going to C and D is where you've got to be careful on how you've shaded and drawn, and there's more than one way to do a problem on some of these. So in C it says we want the right, this is what we want. So there are two ways to do that problem. You can know that the whole piece is 100%, and then you can subtract off when you pull that z-score. So this would be from the chart, because it's the area to the left. You would subtract the two to get that area that's left over. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is that you know that they're symmetric, so the tail on the left will match the tail on the right. So you will use the negative z-score tail picture to know that it's equal to the right picture. But you've got to be careful if you're using this. Again, make sure you look at your picture carefully. So two ways to do it. You can actually subtract from 100%. You use the chart that gives you the positive z-score, which is the first one. This one uses the positive z-score, but you have to subtract. The second option is using the negative z-score, even though we don't have a negative z-score, because we know the tails will be symmetric, and we can use them both. And you'll understand more of these in a second when you do the problems. And the last one there is, okay, wait a minute, I want the region between two different values. So I want this, and this is important. You are going to find this full amount, which is using that positive z-score, and the biggest one, okay? And then we're going to use the tail to subtract off, which is using that negative z-score one, and we're subtracting that off because I don't want to include it. So I'm going to color that in just so you can see what I mean. So we're subtracting that piece. So I'm going to color it in and just reiterate it. The blue would give you this whole piece, but I don't want to include this tail part, so I subtract that off. This piece right here, I subtract off to give me just the region bounded between those two values. So I find the whole piece, subtract off the tail to find the piece in between. So next we're going to be doing some examples for these problems.